3 months ago, Zara Williams, a black artist in Seattle, fell into an intense relationship with Min Jun Park, a Korean mafia boss who bought her paintings for $90,000. Their connection deepened over weeks of late nights and intimate conversations, but everything shattered when Min Jun coldly ended things, throwing $20,000 at her like payment for services. Devastated, Zara discovered she was pregnant. At Min Jun's grandfather's funeral, he shocked everyone by dropping to his knees before her, begging to know if the baby was his. The truth emerged. Min Jun's father had threatened to kill Zara if he didn't end the relationship. Min Jun had broken her heart to save her life. When word of the pregnancy spread, Min Jun's father kidnapped Zara and took her to the family estate in Korea, intending to control both her and the heir she carried. Min Jun orchestrated a dangerous escape, setting fire to the estate and leaking documents that exposed his father's crimes: money laundering, human trafficking, political assassinations. In the chaos, Min Jun was shot. He survived. His father went to prison. The Park empire crumbled. 6 months later, in a Seattle gallery surrounded by her artwork documenting their journey, Zara went into labor. Their daughter, Grace Hope Park, was born, a symbol of everything they'd fought for. 3 years passed. Min Jun and Zara built a life filled with love, chaos, and healing. They had a second child, Elijah. Jae Sung and Keisha married and had children of their own. Together, they created a family forged not by blood and power, but by choice and courage. Their story became a documentary helping others escape dangerous situations. But new beginnings often carry shadows from the past, and some debts demand payment in ways no one expects. The call came on a Tuesday morning while I was teaching Grace how to blend watercolors. "Mama, look, I made purple." Grace held up her painting, a swirl of blues and reds that indeed created a muddy purple. At 8 years old, she had my love of art and Min Jun's intense focus when creating something. "That's beautiful, baby girl." I kissed the top of her head, her black curls tickling my nose. "Try adding a little white to make it lighter." My phone vibrated across the kitchen table. Unknown number. My stomach clenched with old instincts. Even 5 years after Korea, unknown numbers still triggered my fight-or-flight response. "Hello?" Heavy breathing. Then a voice I'd hoped never to hear again. "Miss Williams, or should I say Mrs. Park, though I notice you never took his name. How very American." My blood turned to ice. "Who is this?" "You don't recognize me. I'm wounded. We spent such quality time together at the estate. Of course, you were more focused on my son than on his poor father, Mr. Park." Min Jun's father, the man who should have been rotting in a Korean prison for the next 20 years. "How are you calling from prison?" He laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Money buys many things, Ms. Williams, including phone privileges, including information, including reach beyond walls." Grace looked up at me, sensing my tension. "Mama?" I forced a smile, gestured for her to keep painting, and walked quickly into the hallway. "What do you want?" "Want? Nothing you haven't already taken. You destroyed my family, turned my son against me, cost me my empire, my freedom, my legacy. And for what? Love?" The word dripped with contempt. "How is that precious love treating you? Is it worth what's coming? Is that a threat? It's a promise. You took everything from me. Now I take everything from you. Tell Min Jun his father sends his regards. Tell him debts are coming due. Tell him—" I hung up, hands shaking so badly I nearly dropped the phone. "Mama, you okay?" Grace stood in the doorway, paint on her hands and concern in her eyes. Eyes that were Min Jun's exact shade of dark brown. "I'm fine, sweetie. Just a spam call." The lie tasted bitter. "Why don't you go wake up Elijah? Daddy should be home soon and we can all have lunch together." She ran off, ponytail bouncing. The moment she disappeared upstairs, I dialed Min Jun. He answered on the first ring. "Hey, beautiful, I'm just leaving the office." "Your father called me." Silence. Then, "What?" "From prison. He called me. Min Jun, how is that possible? He's supposed to be, 'I'm coming home right now. Don't go anywhere. Lock all the doors. I'm calling Jae Sung.'" "Min Jun, you're scaring me." "Good. You should be scared. My father doesn't make idle threats. I'll be there in 10 minutes. He was there in 8. Our kitchen had become a war room. Min Jun paced like a caged animal, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Korean to someone on the other end. Jae-sung sat at the table with his laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard. Keisha had arrived within 20 minutes, immediately taking Grace and Elijah to the playroom upstairs with strict instructions to stay there. "How did this happen?" I asked for the 3rd time. "He's supposed to be in a maximum security facility. No outside contact except supervised visits." "He is," Jae-sung said, not looking up from his screen. "But I'm seeing financial transactions from his old accounts that should have been frozen. Someone's helping him, someone with access and resources." Min Jun ended his call, his jaw tight with rage. "My uncle, my father's younger brother, Sung Ho. He disappeared when the arrests happened, fled to China. My contacts say he's been moving money, calling in old favors. He's planning something." "Planning what?" My voice came out higher than intended. Min Jun finally looked at me, and the fear in his eyes made my heart drop. "Revenge. My father believes in old-world honor. We humiliated him, destroyed his life's work, put him in a cage. In his mind, there's only one response. He wants to kill us. No." Min Jun crossed to me, taking my hands in his. They were ice cold. "Killing us would be too quick, too merciful. He wants us to suffer the way he's suffered. He wants to take what matters most." Understanding hit me like a physical blow. The children. "I won't let that happen." Min Jun's voice turned to steel. "I will burn down the world before I let him touch our children." "We need to go to the police," Keisha said, emerging from the playroom. "FBI, Interpol, whoever handles international criminal threats. We have evidence. Evidence won't stop my father." Min Jun released my hands, returning to his pacing. He spent 40 years building connections, buying loyalty, creating networks that operate outside the law. The only way to stop him is to cut off his resources. We need to find Sung Ho. "And do what?" I asked. "Min Jun, we're not those people. We're not—" "I am exactly those people." He stopped, facing me. "I was born into this world, trained in it. I walked away from it for you, for our family, for a better life. But that doesn't mean I've forgotten how it works. Sometimes the only way to fight monsters is to remember you used to be one." The words hung in the air, heavy with implications. Jae-sung closed his laptop. "I have an old contact in Beijing, former intelligence. If Sung Ho is in China, he can find him." "How long?" Min Jun asked. 48 hours, maybe less." "We don't have 48 hours. If my father called today, it means he's already moving. We need protection, now." "I'll call my people." Jae-sung pulled out his phone. "We can have a security team here within the hour. Former military, completely trustworthy." "Do it." I watched this conversation happen as if from a distance, as if I were outside my body looking in. This was the world Min Jun had left behind, the world he'd fought so hard to escape. And now it had found us again, reaching across oceans and years to drag us back. "Zara." Min Jun's hand on my cheek brought me back to the present. "Hey, look at me. I'm not letting anything happen to you, to Grace, to Elijah. I promise." "You promised before, in Korea, and I still ended up kidnapped." He flinched like I'd slapped him. "I know, and I've lived with that failure every day since. But I'm not that same man anymore. I'm not constrained by family loyalty or honor codes. If my father wants a war, I'll give him one. And I'll win. By becoming what you hate, by protecting what I love." Footsteps on the stairs. Grace appeared, holding Elijah's hand. At 4 years old, Elijah was the spitting image of Min Jun. Serious, observant, missing nothing. "Daddy, why do we have to stay upstairs?" Grace asked. "Uncle Jae-sung looks upset. Is something wrong?" Min Jun knelt down, pulling both children into his arms. "Everything's okay, sweetheart. We're just being extra careful about safety. You know how Daddy worries." "Like when those reporters came to the house after the documentary?" Grace asked. "Exactly like that, just some extra precautions." Elijah, who rarely spoke but noticed everything, touched his father's face. "You're scared." Minjun's expression cracked for just a moment before he composed it. "I'm concerned, but that's my job, to worry so you don't have to. How about this? We're going to have a family adventure. Remember that cabin Aunt Keisha and Uncle Jae Sung have? The one by the lake with the boat? Can we go fishing?" Grace's eyes lit up. "As much fishing as you want. We'll leave this afternoon. Does that sound fun?" Both children nodded enthusiastically, buying the fiction that this was a vacation rather than a tactical retreat. Minjun stood, mouthing thank you to Keisha, who shepherded them back upstairs to pack. "The cabin is defensible," Jae-sung said once they were gone. "One road in, clear sight lines on all approaches. We can secure it." "How long are we running?" I asked. "Days? Weeks? Are we going to spend the rest of our lives looking over our shoulders, moving from safe house to safe house, teaching our children to be afraid?" "No." Minjun's voice was firm. "We end this, permanently, but first we get you and the kids somewhere safe. Then Jae-sung and I handle the threat." "Handle it how?" He didn't answer, which was answer enough. "Minjun Park, you look at me right now." I grabbed his arm, forcing him to face me. "I didn't fight my way out of Korea, give birth to your children, and build this life just to watch you throw it away playing vigilante. We do this the right way, legal, clean." "There is no right way with my father. You don't understand, then make me understand. Because right now all I see is you turning back into the man you were before we met. The dangerous man, the violent man. And I didn't fall in love with that man. I fell in love with the one who chose differently." His eyes searched mine, something breaking behind them. What if choosing differently gets our children killed? What if becoming your father makes them grow up without a dad? Because that's where this path leads, Minjun. You know it. I know it. Jae-sung's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, his expression darkening. "We have a problem. My contact just sent photos from the Beijing airport. Sung-ho boarded a flight 6 hours ago." "Destination?" Minjun asked. "Seattle. He lands in 3 hours." The room went silent. "Then we're out of time," I said. "Pack the kids. Get them to the cabin. But Minjun, we're doing this smart. We're staying ahead of him, not meeting him in some alley for a shootout. We're better than them. Say it. Tell me we're better than them." He pulled me close, pressing his forehead to mine. "We're better than them. I promise. I'll find a way to protect everyone without becoming a monster." "Good. Because I need you to come home to us. Not just your body, but your soul. Our children need their real father, not a hollow version who sacrificed everything for safety." "I love you," he whispered. "More than power, more than pride, more than revenge. I love you. Then prove it. Stay human." He kissed me, soft, desperate, a promise and a prayer. Upstairs, our children laughed about their upcoming adventure. They had no idea their world was about to explode again, but this time, we'd be ready. The drive to the cabin took 3 hours, 2 security vehicles flanking our SUV the entire way. Grace chattered excitedly about fishing and s'mores, while Elijah pressed his nose to the window, watching the forest thicken around us. "Mama, will we see bears?" Grace asked. "Maybe from a distance," I said, forcing normalcy into my voice. "But we'll make lots of noise when we hike so they know to stay away." "I'm not scared of bears," she announced. "Daddy says we're scarier." I glanced at Minjun in the driver's seat. He winced. That was about being brave, not actually threatening wildlife. "You also said our family is unbreakable," Elijah added quietly. "That nothing can hurt us if we stay together." "That's right, buddy. Is that why the men with guns are following us?" Minjun and I exchanged looks. Elijah missed nothing. "Those are our friends," Minjun explained. "They're making sure we have a safe, relaxing vacation. Sometimes important people need extra security. It's normal." "You're not an important person anymore," Elijah said matter-of-factly. "You run a nonprofit. You told me important people have power and money, and you gave all that away. Smart doesn't always mean right, Min-jun said gently. I'm important because I have you, Grace, and Mama. That makes me the richest, most important man in the world. Elijah considered this, then nodded. Okay, can we still roast marshmallows? Absolutely. The cabin was more compound than rustic retreat. Jae-sung had bought it 2 years ago as a family vacation spot, but I now suspected he'd always planned for it to serve as an emergency safe house. The main building was solid logs with bulletproof windows, disguised as normal glass, reinforced doors, and a security system that would make Fort Knox jealous. Wow! Grace ran inside, immediately claiming the loft bedroom. This is like a castle. A very safe castle, Keisha said, appearing from the kitchen. She'd driven separately with baby James, arriving an hour earlier to prep. I made snacks. Who wants apple slices? While the kids demolished fruit and crackers, the adults gathered on the back deck. The lake spread before us, mirror still and beautiful. Hard to believe danger was hunting us in a place this peaceful. Security team is setting up a perimeter, Jae-sung reported, keeping his voice low. Motion sensors, cameras, the works. We'll have 4-hour rotating shifts. If anyone approaches within a mile, we'll know. Sung-ho lands in 90 minutes. Min-jun checked his watch. He'll need time to gather resources, confirm our location. We have maybe 12 hours before he moves. That's assuming he knows where we are, I said. He knows. My family has tracked me my entire life. They probably have our phones compromised. Then we ditched the phones. Already done. Jae-sung handed us burner phones. Only the 4 of us have these numbers, completely clean. What about my studio? I asked. My exhibition is in 2 weeks. I have pieces that need... Zara, there will be other exhibitions. Min-jun took my hand. Right now, staying alive is the priority. No, I pulled away. We're not doing this. We're not letting them take our lives again. I have worked too hard, rebuilt too much, to let your father turn me back into a victim cowering in a cabin. I'm going back to Seattle tomorrow, finishing my work, living my life. That's suicide. That's defiance. And it's the only way we win. Don't you see? If we hide, if we run, if we change everything because of his threats, then he's already won. He's already destroyed what we built. Min-jun stared at me like I'd lost my mind. You want to use yourself as bait. I want to refuse to be prey. There's a difference. Zara's right, Keisha said slowly. Think about it. Sung-ho expects us to hide, expects us to be scared. If we act normal, if Zara goes to her studio and Min-jun goes to work, we control the narrative, and we catch him off guard. While putting Zara directly in danger, I'm already in danger. I stood up. We all are. But I'm not teaching our children that the right response to fear is hiding. I'm teaching them that we face threats head on, together, without losing ourselves. Min-jun looked at Jae-sung. This is insane. Strategically sound, actually, Jae-sung said. If we secure Zara's studio, have a team in place, we could draw Sung-ho out, force him to make a move on our terms instead of his. You're all crazy. But Min-jun's expression was shifting from protective fear to tactical calculation. If we do this, we do it right. Full security detail, no exceptions. And at the first sign of real danger, we extract immediately. Agreed, I said. And the kids stay here, locked down tight. Absolutely. He pulled me close, burying his face in my hair. I hate this. I hate all of this. I know. But we're not going to let him take our lives again. Not our physical lives, and not the life we've built. We fought too hard. You fought too hard. I just followed you out of the darkness. Then keep following. Trust me. He kissed the top of my head. Always. Inside, Grace's laughter rang out as she played cards with Elijah. Normal, beautiful, innocent, worth protecting at any cost, even if that cost was facing our nightmares head on. The studio felt different, knowing it was bait. Every shadow seemed threatening. Every sound made me jump. I stood before my canvas, a new piece exploring motherhood and fear. But my hands were too shaky to paint. You're clear, the voice in my earpiece said. Jae-sung monitoring from a van across the street. No movement on any cameras. Min-jun is 3 minutes out. I'd been back in Seattle for 6 hours, gone to the grocery store, stopped at the coffee shop, acted completely normal, all while 4 security personnel shadowed my every move and Min-jun tracked me obsessively via GPS. "This is ridiculous," I muttered. "I can't work like this." "You wanted normal," Min-jun's voice came through the earpiece. "This is as normal as we get until Sung-ho makes his move. Maybe he won't. Maybe this is all paranoia." "Movement," Jae-sung cut in sharply. "Black sedan, 2 cars back from Min-jun, same one that's been circling the block for 30 minutes, running plates now." My heart hammered. "Is it him?" "Unknown. Windows are tinted. Min-jun, be aware." "I see it." Min-jun's voice stayed calm, but I heard the tension underneath. I'm pulling into the studio parking lot. Car is continuing past, getting a visual. 2 occupants. Driver is male, Asian, approximately. Shit. "What? Min-jun, what?" "It's Sung-ho, and he's not trying to hide. He's smiling at me." "All teams converge," Jae-sung ordered. "Do not engage. We need him to make the first move for legal standing." "Legal standing," Min-jun snapped. "He's right there. And we have to do this clean, remember? For the kids. For Zara. Stay cool." I ran to the studio window. Sure enough, Min-jun stood in the parking lot, hands at his sides, staring at a black sedan stopped at the curb. A man in the passenger seat, I couldn't see his face clearly, made an exaggerated wave. Then the car drove off. "They're leaving," Jae-sung reported. "Tracking via satellite. They're heading toward the docks, industrial area." Min-jun entered the studio 30 seconds later, his face a mask of barely controlled rage. "He's playing with us. That was a message." "What kind of message?" "That he can get to us anytime, that he's not afraid, that he's in control." Min-jun paced the small space. "We need to flip this. We need—" His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He put it on speaker. "Hello, nephew." Sung-ho's voice was smooth, cultured, nothing like the rough criminals from movies. "What a lovely day for reconnecting with family." "You're not my family." "No? I changed your diapers when you were a baby, taught you to swim, attended your mother's funeral, but I suppose blood means nothing when ambition calls." "What do you want?" "What your father wants. Justice. Balance. You cost him everything, Min-jun. His freedom, his empire, his honor. In our world, such debts must be repaid. Then take it up with me. Leave Zara and the children out of this. But they are the point. You chose them over family, over duty, over honor. You betrayed everything for love." He said the last word like a curse. "So now you'll learn what that love costs. I swear to God, if you touch my children—" So aggressive, so American. "Your father was right. That black woman poisoned you against your heritage." I saw Min-jun's jaw clench at the casual racism. "But don't worry. We don't want to harm the children. We want to educate them, raise them properly in Korea where they belong." My blood ran cold. "You want to take them?" "Ms. Williams, delightful to finally speak directly. Yes, we want our family's heirs. Your daughter has Park blood. Your son carries our legacy. They deserve better than your urban influence." "You racist piece of—" "Name-calling solves nothing. Here are terms. Surrender the children voluntarily. Min-jun returns to Korea to serve his father's remaining sentence. You, Ms. Williams, receive $10 million and disappear. Everyone lives. Everyone benefits." "Go to hell," Min-jun and I said simultaneously. Sung-ho sighed. So predictable. "Very well. We'll do this the difficult way. You have 24 hours to reconsider. After that, we take what's ours. And Ms. Williams? That beautiful cabin by the lake? The one where you left Grace and Elijah? Such a remote location. Anything could happen out there. Fires, for instance. Very difficult for help to arrive in time." The line went dead. He knows where they are. I was already running for the door. Oh God, he knows where the kids are. "I'm calling the team at the cabin." Jae-sung's voice was urgent in the earpiece. "Stand by." Static. "Jae-sung! Jae-sung!" Nothing but dead air. Min-jun grabbed my arm. "We go, now, fast." We ran for his car, security team converging from all directions. The drive to the cabin would take 3 hours. 3 hours that our children were alone with only Keisha and a security team against God knew how many of Sung-ho's people. "Drive faster," I begged as Minjun pushed the SUV to 90 on the highway. "I am. We'll get there. They'll be okay. The cabin is defensible. Keisha is armed. The team is professional." "He's going to take my babies." "He's not. I swear on everything I am, Zara. He's not touching our children." My phone rang. Keisha's number. I answered with shaking hands. "Keisha, are you—" "Zara." Her voice was terrified. "There are men. Outside the cabin. Lots of them. The security team is holding them off, but—" Gunfire cracked in the background. "Oh God, they're shooting! Where are Grace and Elijah?" "Hidden, in the safe room Jae-sung installed. But I don't know how long. Zara, I'm scared. There are so many of them." "We're coming. Hold on, we're—" An explosion. The line went dead. "Keisha!" I was screaming. "Keisha, answer me!" Minjun's phone rang. This time, Sung-ho's voice was cheerful. "Hear that? That was the front door. Professional-grade explosives. We came prepared. Now, as we discussed, you have a choice. Turn around, come to the docks. Warehouse 47, bring Zara. We'll trade. You two for the children and Miss Thompson. Everyone walks away." "You're lying." "Perhaps. But can you afford to gamble? The cabin is burning, Minjun. Our people are inside, and those beautiful children of yours, they're crying for their parents." In the background, I heard it. Grace's scream. "Daddy! Daddy, help!" Something inside me shattered. "We're coming," Minjun said, his voice dead. "Don't hurt them. Please, I'll give you whatever you want." "I know you will. You have 30 minutes. Come alone or they die." Warehouse 47 loomed against the night sky like a tombstone. Minjun parked the SUV a block away, killing the lights. Behind us, 3 more vehicles materialized from the darkness. Jae-sung, who'd somehow made contact and rendezvoused with us, and what remained of our security team. "This is a trap," Jae-sung said. "We go in there, we don't come out. We don't have a choice." I was strapping on a bulletproof vest that felt too heavy and too light at the same time. Our children are in there. We hope our children are in there. This could be— I heard Grace's voice. I heard her. Minjun touched my face. "We're getting them back. But Jae-sung is right. We need a plan beyond walking into an ambush." "The warehouse has 3 entrances." Jae-sung pulled up blueprints on his tablet. "Main doors here, loading dock on the east side, rooftop access. We split up, create confusion." "Sung-ho wants me and Zara," Minjun said. "We go in the front, visible, while everyone else infiltrates from other positions." "That's using yourselves as bait. That's giving our family a chance. Do it." 5 minutes later, Minjun and I approached the main doors. They swung open before we touched them, revealing a cavernous space lit by harsh overhead lights. Shipping containers were stacked in the corners. In the center of the empty floor stood Sung-ho, flanked by at least 20 armed men. And kneeling before him, hands bound, were Keisha, Grace, and Elijah. "Mama!" Grace tried to run, but one of the men grabbed her roughly. She cried out, "Let her go!" I started forward, but Minjun caught my arm. "We're here," he called to Sung-ho. "Let them go. You have what you wanted." "Do I?" Sung-ho walked slowly forward, hands clasped behind his back like a professor giving a lecture. "You've become weak, nephew. Sentimental. Look at you. Trading your life for children who will forget you within a year when we raise them properly. They're 8 and 4. They'll remember everything." Will they? Children are resilient, adaptable. With the right education, the right influences, they'll understand we saved them from a life of mediocrity, from a father who betrayed his heritage, and a mother who— He looked at me with undisguised contempt. "Who contributed nothing but genetic pollution." "Don't talk about my mom," Grace shouted, struggling against her captor. "She's the best artist in the world." "Spirit. Good. You'll need that in Korea." Sung-ho snapped his fingers. 2 men grabbed Minjun, wrenching his arms behind him. When he struggled, they hit him, hard in the kidney. He gasped, dropping to his knees. "Stop!" I tried to reach him, but more hands seized me. "We came peacefully. You said—" I said everyone could walk away. I never specified in what condition. He nodded to one of his men who raised a gun to Keisha's head. No! Jae-sung's voice roared from the loading dock entrance. He and the security team burst in, weapons raised. Let them go, now. Sung-ho smiled. And here's the rest of the party. Predictable. Did you really think I wouldn't anticipate? Gunfire erupted from the shipping containers. Hidden shooters. Jae-sung's team scattered, returning fire. Chaos exploded, bullets sparking off metal, people shouting, Grace and Elijah screaming. Min-jun used the distraction to wrench free, slamming his elbow into one captor's face. He spun toward our children, but Sung-ho was faster. He grabbed Grace, pressing a gun to her head. Everyone stop! The warehouse froze. My 8-year-old daughter stood in the arms of a man who wanted to erase her mother from her life, cold metal pressed to her temple. Grace's eyes found mine, wide, terrified, pleading. Mama, she whispered. It's okay, baby. It's okay. No, it's not okay. Sung-ho cocked the gun. Here's what happens now. Jae-sung, you and your people drop your weapons and walk away, or I paint the walls with your goddaughter's brain matter. 3 seconds, 3, 2... Wait! Min-jun held up his hands. Wait, please, I'll do anything, whatever you want. Anything. Sung-ho's smile widened. Then shoot her. He tossed a gun to Min-jun. It skittered across the concrete floor, stopping at his feet. Shoot the black woman who destroyed our family. Put a bullet in her heart right here, right now, and I let the children go. Prove your loyalty to your blood over your hormones. The warehouse held its breath. Min-jun picked up the gun with shaking hands. He looked at me, and I saw everything in his eyes. Love, anguish, calculation, and a question. Do you trust me? I nodded almost imperceptibly. I'm sorry, Min-jun whispered, raising the gun. Zara, I'm so sorry. I know, I said. I love you. He fired. The bullet hit me in the chest, an explosion of pain that drove me backward. I hit the ground hard, gasping. Red bloomed across my white shirt. The world tilted. Through dimming vision, I saw Min-jun's face, saw him mouth something. Then darkness. 4 days earlier, you want me to shoot you? I stared at Min-jun like he'd completely lost his mind. We were in Jae-sung's secure office, blueprints and surveillance photos covering every surface. That's your plan? With a specially modified bullet. Jae-sung knows a former CIA operative who designed them for deep cover ops. The round has a compressed blood capsule that ruptures on impact. Looks like you've been shot. Feels like a hard punch, but no penetration. The vest will have a receiver pad. Still going to hurt like hell, Jae-sung added, and you'll have to sell it. Fall convincingly. Act dying. If Sung-ho suspects it's fake for even a second, he'll shoot you again with a real bullet. Why not just stage an ambush? I asked. Why the theatrics? Because Sung-ho needs to believe he's won, Min-jun explained. He needs to see me break. Choose family over you. The moment he thinks he's successfully broken me, the moment he believes I've become my father's son again, his guard drops. That's when we take him. This is insane. This is psychological warfare. Everything Sung-ho does is about dominance, about proving that traditional values, family honor, blood loyalty, these things matter more than love. If I kill you to save the children, I'm validating his worldview. And in that moment of validation, he'll be vulnerable. Keisha shook her head. Too many variables. What if Grace sees Zara get shot and breaks character? What if Sung-ho does exactly what Jae-sung said and puts another bullet in her? That's why we're telling Grace and Elijah beforehand, I said slowly, the plan crystallizing in my mind. We explain that Mama is going to pretend to be hurt, that it's like a play, that Daddy is the good guy pretending to be bad. They're 8 and 4. They're our children. They're smart. They'll understand if we explain it right. Min-jun looked at Jae-sung. Can you make the modified bullet work? I can make it. The question is whether you can pull the trigger on the woman you love, even knowing it's fake. Can you, Min-jun? Because if you hesitate for even a heartbeat, we're all dead. Min-jun closed his eyes, and I saw him fighting internal demons. When he opened them again, they were clear. I can do anything to protect my family, even this. Present. Warehouse 47. I woke up 2 minutes after dying. The hardest thing I've ever done was keeping my eyes closed, my breathing shallow while chaos erupted around me. You killed her! Keisha's anguished scream sounded real because part of it was. Even knowing the plan, seeing me fall had triggered genuine grief. You killed her! I did what was necessary. Minjun's voice was flat, emotionless, the perfect mimicry of his father. Now let my children go. Not quite yet. Sung-ho's footsteps approached my body. I felt him kneel beside me, checking for a pulse. His fingers pressed my neck, finding the faint, controlled heartbeat Jae-sung had taught me to maintain through meditation. Please don't check too carefully. Please don't notice. She's really dead. Sung-ho stood. I'm impressed, nephew. Perhaps you're more your father's son than we thought. The Park blood runs true after all. The children. Now. Of course. I heard Grace crying, heard Elijah's quiet sobbing. It took everything I had not to open my eyes, not to reach for them. Take them. Raise them in America if you wish. But you're coming home. To Korea. To serve your father's sentence. That wasn't the deal. The deal changed when you proved yourself worthy. You'll serve 3 years. As a gesture of respect for what you've done here today, we'll commute the rest. When you return, you'll help rebuild the organization. The Park Empire rises again. And if I refuse, then I shoot your children and make you watch before killing you slowly. Silence. I could feel Minjun's internal struggle. He'd gotten the children released, but now faced losing them a different way. Minjun, Keisha said quietly, don't do this. You can't go back there. I don't have a choice. You always have a choice. Not when it costs my children their father. I'll do it, Jae-sung's voice rang out. Let him stay with the kids. I'll go to Korea in his place. Serve the sentence. You're nobody. The deal requires Park blood. Then consider it a gift. 3 years of my life for 3 years of his. Sung-ho laughed. How touching. But no. Minjun, you're coming home. Say goodbye to your children. You have 60 seconds. This was it. The moment we'd planned for. Sung-ho thought he'd won. His guard was down, his men were relaxed, and I was dead on the floor, invisible, forgotten. I opened my eyes. The first thing I saw was Grace looking directly at me. She'd been watching, waiting. When our eyes met, she did exactly what we'd practiced, created a distraction. I don't feel good, she said loudly. I think I'm gonna... She made exaggerated retching sounds. Not on my shoes! One of the guards moved toward her, stepping directly into my line of movement. I rolled, grabbed the gun that had killed me. Minjun had dropped it close deliberately, and came up firing, not at people, but at the overhead lights. Darkness exploded. Shouts of confusion. Now! Jae-sung's voice. Everything happened at once. His team, who'd been surrendering, pulled hidden weapons. The shipping containers burst open, not with enemy reinforcements, but with FBI agents we'd secretly contacted days ago, who'd been recording every word Sung-ho said. Lights blazed, not overhead, but from tactical flashlights mounted on dozens of weapons. FBI, hands up, everyone down! Sung-ho spun toward me, gun rising. Minjun hit him like a freight train, taking him to the ground. They struggled, punching, fighting for the weapon. I ran toward my children, covering their eyes as Keisha cut their bonds. Mama! Grace threw herself into my arms. You were so good at playing dead. Thanks, baby. You too. Both of you were so brave. Is it over? Elijah asked, clutching my leg. Can we go home? Almost, little man. Almost. Across the warehouse, Minjun had Sung-ho pinned, forearm across his throat. You lose. Your contacts are being arrested in Korea as we speak. My father's appeals have been denied. The Park Empire is dust. And my children? They're free. You betrayed your blood. Sung-ho gasped. No, I chose my real family. There's a difference. FBI agents swarmed in, cuffing Sung-ho and his men. The special agent in charge approached us. "Ms. Williams, Mr. Park, you're free to go. We'll need statements tomorrow, but for tonight you should get your children somewhere safe and normal." "Normal?" I laughed, almost hysterical. "What's normal?" Minjun wrapped his arms around all of us. Me, Grace, Elijah, Keisha, even Jae Sung. This is normal. Us. Together. Safe. "Can we get pancakes?" Grace asked. "At midnight?" Keisha smiled through tears. "We almost died. I think pancakes are appropriate." "The girl makes a solid argument," Jae Sung said. So we went to an all-night diner. 6 traumatized people and 2 exhausted children, sitting in a cracked vinyl booth, eating pancakes and trying to remember how to breathe normally. "Mama?" Elijah, chocolate chips on his face, looked up at me. "Are the bad men gone forever?" I glanced at Minjun, who took my hand. "Yes, buddy, forever." "Good, because I don't want to do any more adventures for a while. I just want to stay home and be boring." "Boring sounds perfect," Minjun said, kissing his son's head, and for the first time in weeks, I believed it might actually be true. 6 months later, the gallery opening was smaller this time, more intimate, just family and close friends, celebrating not art for art's sake, but art as healing. My new collection, Rising from Ashes, covered the walls. Every piece documented our second nightmare and second survival. The fear, the planning, the warehouse, the resolution. But unlike my previous work, these paintings weren't dark. They were explosions of color, of light breaking through darkness, of hope refusing to die. "This one's my favorite," Grace said, pointing to a large canvas showing a family of 4 standing against flames, holding hands. "That's us, right? Being brave together?" "That's exactly us." I knelt beside her. "What do you think it means?" "That fire can't burn love, and that families are strongest when they're together." "When did you get so wise?" "Daddy says I got it from you, and the stubbornness from him." Minjun approached, carrying Elijah on his shoulders. "Who's stubborn?" "You are," both children chorused. "Guilty as charged." He set Elijah down and pulled me close. "Have I told you today that you're extraordinary?" "Not in the last 3 hours." "Unacceptable. You're extraordinary, talented, fierce, beautiful, the love of my life." "Better?" "Much." Across the gallery, Keisha and Jae Sung slow danced to music that wasn't playing, lost in each other. They'd gotten engaged 2 months ago, a quiet proposal on the cabin's reconstructed deck, under stars that had witnessed so much chaos and now reflected only peace. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we'd never met?" I asked Minjun. "If you'd never walked into that first gallery?" "Every day, and every day I'm grateful I can't live in that universe. This one, the one with you, with our babies, with this impossible, beautiful, chaotic life. This is the only one I want. Even with the death threats, the kidnapping, the fake shooting, especially with all that, it made us who we are. It proved we can survive anything." I'd rather not test that theory again. Agreed. From now on, our biggest drama is Grace's gymnastics competitions and Elijah's refusal to eat vegetables. He gets that from you. I eat vegetables. Under protest. "Well, yes, but Mama, Daddy, the cake is here." Grace bounced excitedly as staff wheeled in a massive sheet cake decorated with images from my paintings. "That's the most narcissistic cake I've ever seen," I laughed. "That's the most beautiful cake I've ever seen," Minjun countered, "almost as beautiful as the artist who made the paintings that inspired it." Smooth. I have my moments. We gathered around, our chosen family, our real family, the people who'd fought beside us and refused to let us fall. Keisha gave a toast about strength and sisterhood. Jae Sung spoke about honor meaning different things than he'd been taught. The children just wanted cake. And me? I looked around at the art on the walls, the people in the room, the life we'd built twice from ashes, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Real, deep, unshakable peace. "What are you thinking?" Minjun whispered, his arm around my waist. "That we did it. We actually did it." "Did what?" "Found our happy ending. Despite everything trying to destroy it, we built something that can't be burned down. A family, a love, a life that's ours. He kissed my temple. Not an ending, a beginning. We get to keep beginning, over and over, every single day. Then let's begin tomorrow by sleeping late and doing absolutely nothing dangerous. Best plan I've heard all year. Grace tugged my hand. Mama, when can we cut the cake? I'm starving. Right now, baby girl, right now. And as I cut that ridiculous, beautiful cake, surrounded by laughter and love and safety, I realized something profound. Sometimes the greatest act of defiance against darkness isn't fighting it. It's building a life so full of light that darkness can't find a foothold. We'd fought our wars, survived our nightmares, stared down our demons. Now we got to live. And that simple, ordinary, extraordinary act of living fully and loving fiercely was the greatest victory of all. The end.